So even though I'm not terribly sure that this debate is actually going to happen, I'll give it about a 80% chance that it will in fact happen, but we got debate topics, we got comparisons, we got a couple of rule changes, and we got predictions as well. So strap in for the next few minutes here and I'll walk you through it. Won't be discussing the character defects that are quite apparent with Kristen Welker. I've done that in a previous video, so I won't bore you with the details and the fact that she's a Democratic partisan hack. But I also had a great comment and I had a great back and forth with my friend who initiated the conversation there. It's something that I've been definitely thinking about for a while, and the fact that Trump likes these adversarial moderators and journalists, in fact, because it kind of paints him in a light of he's the underdog and everybody likes the underdog, right? I don't think he really cares who the moderator is because he's just gonna say whatever the fuck he wants regardless of what anybody tells him. I personally think that it's great. Other people are turned off by his tactic of excavating with a nuclear bomb, but for people when they see these exchanges, it bodes well for Trump because it looks like, yeah, he's being ganged up on and he's just like, look, listen, okay, shut up, excuse me. It really highlights his abilities to get his point across, and it makes the other person look like they're coming down to his level, which the optics for the other side, if they're supposed to be portraying this idea that, oh no, we're the normal ones, we're the ones with all the moral high ground, and then as soon as they start engaging with the man that they think and project all of their worst attributes on, they only end up looking like the real idiots until the puff pieces come out later that day, which I'm sure they're already written that Joe Biden was avuncular, and boy, didn't his Cabbage Patch hair just flow in the breeze on the debate stage. And they're just waiting to add their little fucking one-liner in there. Oh, because we all know the fucking... Yeah, he didn't denounce white supremacy, and I'm tired of bringing up the fact that he said sure 3 times on there, but they're just waiting for the whatever slip-up they can find in this debate to complete those articles that are already pre-wrote. I just have CBS News' article up here, so if you see it, you can watch live on CBS television. Yeah, you can watch live wherever the fuck you want. I'm going to be streaming it online because I am under the age of 55 and don't really care to turn on my cable box. I'm sure if you're just going to watch the straight stream, it starts at 9 o'clock Eastern and it runs for 90 minutes. Which, let's just break this down for a minute. I hate this format. I absolutely think that it's outlived its purpose and we should just go into free flow conversation, and you don't really even need a moderator. Well, Biden needs a monitor and a handler and somebody to make sure that he gets up to his podium and faces the right direction. There should just be a topic that flashes on the screen. If they're going to still be on TV in this fucking 90-minute format, here's a topic, you guys talk this out, and we'll see who makes the most coherent statement. I would rather there just be somebody to throw out a topic and then just fucking discuss it freeform until, you know, they just run out of steam. I think that'll be the future when we don't have 2 guys that are able to say that they weren't of serving age during the Korean War. But this is the format that we have, so we got to make the best of this, whatever situation. There's going to be the topics that we seen here earlier. Each Biden and Trump are going to have 2-minute intervals to make their opening statement, and then there's going to be 15 minutes of free-for-all conversation. And you guys remember the hubbub before the second debate got canceled, and after the first one, they were going to implement this microphone muting strategy, and it's in fact going to be there this time around. So the debate commission to cut mics at Trump-Biden showdown. President Donald Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden will have their microphones muted during Thursday's presidential debate to ensure each candidate can get his points across uninterrupted. The Commission on Presidential Debates announced the measure on Monday evening in response to the constant interruptions that marred first presidential debate last month. During that event, moderator Chris Wallace of Fox News had repeatedly intervened to keep Trump from interjecting during Biden's remarks. Biden at one point told the president to shut up. Thanks, Politico, for not mentioning the fact that Joe Biden would also constantly pester and hop on, especially during the white supremacy thing where he's like, just say it, say it, say it, say it. I can think of several other times when Biden was just not being a model citizen that he likes to tell us that he all is. The return to normalcy, right? No malarkey Joe. but what can you expect from Politico, I suppose? The candidates' microphones will only be muted during 2-minute opening remarks at the start of each 15-minute segment of the debate. During the remainder of the debate, the microphones will be on to allow an open discussion, the commission announced. Time taken up by the interruptions by an opponent will be given back to the candidate. Hands up if you spot the red flag in that statement. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so if Biden gets the first hand of the topic, Trump's microphone's going to be cut off. Okay, and then Joe Biden, whenever he has those 2 minutes, you guys remember in the first debate, he would either not answer the question or he'd start off on some old man tangent in the opposite fucking direction. Kamala Harris did it exactly the same way. You remember when she was asked specifically if her and Joe Biden had discussed some sort of a succession plan in the event that Joe Biden falls ill and can no longer become the president, which would exactly be the case, by the way. And she went off into her life story for, 45 minutes, or 45 seconds to a minute, and in turn never even bothered to answer the question. And Susan Page is like, thank you, Senator Harris. If you guys are going to have a fucking moderator there, they should be holding the person who's answering these questions accountable to actually answer the question. I'm well aware that Trump has done this too. I'm well aware that Mike Pence did it as well, and I still want equal treatment on both sides. But I'm also scared of the fact that the moderator is going to have control of these mute buttons. And let's say, okay, for that 11 minutes for the free-for-all, because, okay, the 15 minutes, 2 minutes on one side, 2 minutes on one side, whatever the fuck the leftover is in the middle. Let's say, for the sake of fairness, Trump goes off on a rampage on one of the topics, and he's absolutely dominating the free-for-all section. What is stopping Kristen Welker, who we know is an avowed Democrat, from muting Trump's microphone? What's stopping her from doing the exact same to Joe Biden if he goes on some old man ramblings that Trump can't just look over across the aisle and go, what the fuck are you talking about? I already see the abuses coming. I don't know, maybe I'm paranoid, but I think as soon as somebody starts getting a little too aggressive with their time, because you remember the mantra, oh, you both are supposed to have equal time, even though both Kamala and Joe Biden had 5 extra minutes in both of the debates. Kamala talked for 5 minutes longer than Pence, and it was either 3 minutes or 5 minutes longer that Joe Biden actually spoke more than President Trump in the first debate. And now you know that those are the rule changes. I think if they actually adhere to it, it's not a bad thing, because for 2 minutes you should be able to lay out your points. But like I said there, 10 minutes is not long enough to have a fucking thorough discussion on these topics that they're going to be discussing. And why don't we segue into those? So these are the topics that Kristen Welker herself, as always, the moderators alone will select the questions to be asked, which are not known to the CPD or the candidates. Yep. Press X to doubt on that one. And this list was apparently released on Friday, and yeah, I don't know, it just kind of went under my radar at least. Maybe you guys have been well aware of this for a while, but I took a look at the topics here. So we got fighting COVID-19, American families, race in America, climate change, national security, and leadership. That reads like a carbon copy of the first and vice presidential debates. So I just wanted to double check in the fact that I don't think I was terribly far off in that assumption. Here's a list of the first topics for the presidential debates. Now there is one little caveat, because they also threw in talk about climate change as well, because the Dems were fucking screeching from the rooftop, oh, what about my climate change? And then Chris Wallace, being the hardline journalism expert that he is, backed down and of course added that topic in there as well. Fucking sissy bitch. So these were the topics from the first debate. Trump and Biden's records, the Supreme Court, COVID-19, the economy, race and violence in our cities, the integrity of our election. Leadership, Trump and Biden's records. Climate change. Climate change was added. Race in America. Race and violence in our cities. Fighting COVID-19. COVID-19. The only glaring difference is the Supreme Court, and you have got to be out of your fucking skull if you don't think that they're going to be bringing up the fact that those confirmation votes in the Senate are coming up very, very soon, and it was a bonkers hearing session. So it's just fucking lazy. It really is. American families. Okay, American families and national security. American families you could really lump into the same category as race and violence in our cities, and I'll explain that when I was going to break down my potential questions, what I think that each of these can go into. So it's just Welker being lazy and recycling topics, exactly what Susan Page did for the vice presidential debates, and we'll never know what Scully was going to come up with for the second debate, but that was supposed to be the town hall version, and I guess the questions would have came from the audience. So, but regardless, there is one glaring omission here, one very, very glaring omission, and no, it's not your family record, even though I'd love for American families to be about a certain subcategory related to children of presidential candidates, but unfortunately it won't be. And much like how the Dems bitched and whined to get climate change on the docket on the 1st, the Trump campaign is asking the debate commission to change planned topics ahead of the third debate. Well, actually, they just want one added to it. President Donald Trump's campaign on Monday sent a letter to the commission on presidential debates asking the planned topics for the third and final debate with Democratic nominee Joe Biden be changed. NBC's Kristen Welker, the moderator for Thursday's debate, announced the topics, as we know. Bill Stepien, Trump's campaign manager, asked in a letter that the commission rethink the set of topics and focus them more on foreign policy. Very, very, very important in my opinion. That is what the federal government tends to look after. They look after how the U.S., or insert your country here, deals with other countries around the world. That is one of the main things that I want the federal government to be dealing with, and that is something that should be fucking discussed. That's just not my opinion. That is historically a fact, and I'll let old Bill here, hello Bill, break it down. The topics announced by moderator Kristen Welker are serious and worthy of discussion, but only a few of them even touch on foreign policy. The letter says, indeed, almost all of these were discussed at length during the first debate, won by President Trump over moderator Chris Wallace and candidate Joe Biden. What a fucking great man. The first debate on September 29th, which filled with interruptions and broken rules, focused on the pandemic, the economy, the Supreme Court, race and violence in our cities, election integrity, and Biden and Trump's records, according to the commission, which we just read. Exactly. You know why foreign policy is being left off of the table? It's because Joe Biden's record sucks a fat dick when it comes to foreign policy. Bending over for China, taking money from Ukraine, not wanting to go into another country and capture and kill the world's most wanted terrorist, and also having to answer for the previous regime, which he was a vice president for the fact that they destabilized Libya, leading to an active slave trade that you can watch on several different feeds online. So if that doesn't get changed, like I said, the precedent's already there for this election cycle. They added on climate change after a bunch of bitching and whining from the Democrats, which I'll just bring up so you guys don't have to accuse me of just kind of gaslighting the situation. This is from the Joe Biden supporting Scientific American. They threw their support by him anyways, for the first time in their history they've ever threw their support behind a specific candidate. Climate change receives unexpected attention at first presidential debate. There you go. So I'd like to think that the media would like to continue to portray at least a sense of objectivity and nonpartisanship. So I'll just throw foreign policy in there for a second because it's bound to come up. The question that I think that's probably going to get asked is, how will you handle the threats of Russia? It should be, how are you going to handle the threats of China? But let's say, how are you going to handle the threats of Russia and China? Joe Biden does not have a leg to stand on for reasons I previously explained. He wanted the Chinese brought into the World Trade Organization, saying that they should be an ally and trying to constantly prop them up. And that's kind of led to the Belt and Road strategy, which has built inroads in every country around the world, which is, 4 or 6 of the major Hollywood studios have significant Chinese holdings. It's either 4 or 6, I can't quite remember. And up here in Canada, they have a significant stake in a major oil sands company. In speaking with some of my friends from Australia and New Zealand, they have significant shares in docks and the shipping industry there. It's a pernicious plan, and they have just tentacles in everything. So I would love to hear them discuss what the fuck they're going to be doing with China. Like, at least Trump has renegotiated the trade deal, and Joe Biden is, I don't know, just waiting to Jimmy Carter the whole situation. But here are the concrete topics. So fighting COVID-19, that's just going to be a replay of all the town halls, both debates, and what the fuck are you going to say? One side has a plan, the other side doesn't. Compare swine flu to COVID-19. You see that Joe Biden has nothing but ad hominem attacks. Oh, you caught it, and oh, you should just wear masks more. You seen what he did at that town hall that George Stephanopoulos walked him on stage for. How he was going to handle the situation with masks. How he was going to get all the governors together and tell everybody at the state level, because I can't impose it outside of the federal buildings, but I will if I'm elected, and also shut down the country for 3 months because he's a moron. But I'm going to make every single governor tell their people that they're going to have to wear masks. Okay, well, what if that doesn't work? I'm going to get all the mayors together. Okay, so essentially you're just enacting a countrywide policy where you have to wear a mask. And you're just going to keep micromanaging it down to county by county levels until you get your authoritarian edict in place. Whereas Trump is like, yeah, we're going to have a vaccine soon. Yeah, if you want to wear a mask, and if you don't, whatever. Which is just kind of my opinion on the entire situation. Barely anyone's dying anymore, and I don't want to trivialize the fact that people are dying, but it's a very infectious disease. I don't think anybody's arguing that point, but whether it's through mutation or better treatment of it and better testing for it, not many people are dying of it anymore. Are there lingering effects from it? Some people say yes, some people are fine afterwards. Are we ever going to get definitive data on anything? I don't know, man. When we do an autopsy on this entire situation 10, 15 years from now, we'll probably figure that out. But that's all we can expect from the fighting COVID-19 topic. It's really just going to be a rehash. What's your plan going to be? Oh, when a vaccine comes out, is it going to get mandated? Masks and, I don't know, live in a bubble for the rest of your life. American families could be interesting. It could be about economic stability for American families, or it could be safety for American families based on the constant riots that haven't stopped in places like Portland and Seattle and New York. Well, New York's not that bad because nobody's fucking left there. Or the fact that American families are going to have a significant amount to be worried about on election night because we're either not going to know what happens or Trump ends up winning in a landslide and the fucking lefties lose their mind and burn down whatever the fuck is left. Or we're just left in a state of, okay, significant mail-in fraud and these white nationalists and militias come down from the hills, which I've been hearing about so much. I don't know if it's true. I don't think it's true. And let's just say that, the right wing fucking strikes again. The empire comes back and torches the cities, which there's no precedent for that. But let's just play that out. Let's just say for argument's sake, the American families thing could be for safety or for financial security. And because there's no other topics really around the economy, I'd think that would be the place where Trump can have his talking points on that, and Biden can focus on the fact that all of this is happening under a Trump presidency, even though it's only in blue states and blue cities, but whatever. If those are the questions, how do American families feel facing COVID-19 and with the loss of jobs in the economy, and everything's going to be bad forever? If Trump sticks to the economy and Biden sticks to fear-mongering with the riots, they can both win on those points. And then race in America. Trump has a lot of good things going for him lately. Trump can come out and say, hey, I've worked with Ice Cube on his contract with Black America in order to influence what I want to do with the Platinum Plan. And Joe Biden told him that he'd have to wait until after the election. And just today, 50 Cent said, fuck what they're doing in New York, vote Trump. So, and then, of course, just trumpet his old talking points that lowest black unemployment, biggest growth, most workforce engagement ever, all that kind of stuff. And I could also see how this could be about the unrest in the streets lately, because the Democrats, they really can't talk about how they are the party of Latinos anymore, because after the first presidential debate, there was a informal poll that Univision held, and 66%, it was about 60 or 66% of Latinos thought that Trump won the first debate, and Cubans in Florida are big time behind the anti-communism sentiment for obvious reasons. And add on to that the fact that Black America is supporting Trump publicly. This is at a rate of nearly 40%. A credible journalist would probably ask a question in regards to, hey, there's a very large shift in the public support for a Republican this time from the minority community, when historically the Democrats used to get this big swing and big swath of support. You look back to what happened with Biden, or not Biden, Obama, the Obama Biden ticket. And they got, what, 95 or 98% of the black vote? So that's the kind of question I'd like to see, but it'll definitely be about unrest in the streets and what are you going to do to suck up to minority communities. It'll probably be addressed a little bit more tactfully than that, but it'll be some sort of how are you going to pander to these communities, treating them with the soft bigotry of low expectations. And then, of course, climate change is just going to be a recycling of the first time. Oh, what are you going to do? Oh, we're going to get you back into these Paris Climate Accords and whatever, even though, emissions are down underneath levels that most other places, and green energy, there's no way to properly store it. So you end up like California with rolling brownouts and no way to store the excess energy. And if you think that in places like Colorado and fucking Seattle and Oregon, where it's raining a lot and you have massive forests, where the fuck are you gonna put up solar panels all the time? Or how about out in Jersey when it's fucking cloudy and overcast a lot out on the out on the entire eastern seaboard? It's just not practical at this point. How about nuclear energy? Oh, the left doesn't like that. Why? Fukushima and 4 Mile Island. That was a long time ago. Things have gotten a lot better. Boo. Yeah, zero carbon emissions when it comes to nuclear energy, but the left hates it because my solar panels, my wind power. It's just another opportunity to drag Trump. You don't think that all of this climate change is caused by people? No, some of it is and some of it isn't, and some of it's just a natural occurrence. Boo. And national security. If you think Biden, once again, has a leg to stand on in this instance, no. One is a paper tiger, and the other has, what was the first slogan? Yeah, we're going to build that wall. National security is a landslide victory for Trump in this regards. And that might be where, if they do concede it a little bit, that's where you're going to find some more of the foreign policy talk. How are you going to keep our country safe from foreign invaders? How are you going to morph the military? You might get questions like that. I don't see it, just because, global relations right now have been kind of bizarre with the entire pandemic that is never ending. And then leadership. It's, once again, you're going to hear this. Are you going to commit to a smooth, peaceful transfer of power? Or how are you going to govern so all Americans can come together and we can stop this division that's only happening on one side when we're continuously burning down the country? Don't ever like to mention that now, do you? So depending on what the questions are coming out of these topics could be very good for either candidate. You think that most of the questions are probably going to favor Biden because everything has been handled with kid gloves. Like, only two reporters have had the balls to ask him about the Hunter Biden stuff, which you bet your sweet ass Trump is going to be working in there some way, getting paid off by Chinese energy firms, getting a taste of the Burisma money. Hunter Biden doing coke off a hooker's ass. Which, I've been hearing a lot of stuff about Hunter Biden that I actually kind of agree with. No, I don't agree with Hunter Biden. Let me explain. I agree with the fact that I don't really care about his crack doing, coke doing, whatever, man. He's a fucking troubled dude, and addicts do addict shit, right? What I care about are the business dealings that directly link Joe Biden to getting Hunter Biden into these positions and profiteering off of that. That's what I care about. I could give a shit if he wants to smoke himself into his early grave. Or if we get confirmation on the fact that there might be some Jeffrey Epstein, Anthony Weiner-esque shit off that laptop. And it somehow links back to old creepy Uncle Joe, which doesn't exactly seem like too much of a stretch. If you'd like to inhale deeply with me for a minute and think about that. But I'm still looking very much forward. I'm looking quite positively towards this final debate here. 9 o'clock out east, 7 o'clock where I am, and I'm going to be glued to it because it's going to be a lot of fun. And you know what, if Kristen Welker decides that she wants to get rather enamored with that mute button on Trump's side, he will either walk off or just start yelling like a madman. And at this point, the debates mean fuck all. Everybody knows which way they're voting. Fuck, a lot of people, I've heard several numbers out there, people in the millions have already voted, so this is just a dog and pony show, and they're just here not to incredibly fuck up and to put on a show for the people. So that's my thoughts on it, guys. If you have any idea of what kind of questions you think that they should have to answer for, feel free to drop them in the comment section down below, or what your predictions are going to be. I think Trump's just going to steamroll like a motherfucker in that common time that they have on each topic. And what are your over-under on Joe Biden dementia moments? I'm going to set it at about 1.5, because I think he's going to be pumped full of drugs, and it'll be rather lively for the first half an hour, and then it's touch and go after that. But I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you guys to follow your gut, get after it. Take care, everyone.